What I want to do right now is bring to this platform someone that I feel like has a tremendous testimony, and someone that I've watched her work. Her work ethic is excellent. She's a hard worker, and always very helpful to me personally. Whenever I'm in Chattanooga or whatever, if I give a call, Kammy's always on time and on the money. And we asked her to come speak, and she's not a speaker per se, but she said she was going to come and give her testimony. And I'm so appreciative of this family and all of her children that are here today. So could you stand to your feet and give Kammy Chitwood a big hand today as she comes forward?
Love you, dude.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, I want to say it's an honor to be here. Bishop Mishagan and Miss Denise are such a lovely family. Haroline, I've worked with Haroline forever. Back in Church Gift when I first started with Dr. Chitwood. I just want to say that I'm truly, truly blessed to be a part of this Worship in Pink service, and I'm honored that you gave me the opportunity to come and share my story. First of all, Dr. Chitwood told me not to say this, but put your earmuffs on, Dr. Chitwood. I'm going to say it anyways. He is, of course, the upfront Chitwood. I'm the behind-the-scenes Chitwood. I do everything that I can to make his vision come to fruition, and it's also an honor to be a part of his family and work for him as well. My story started about 10 years ago. I was the mom that I had an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 4-year-old I was raising by myself. And I started, just to kind of give you a little bit of a background, do you mind if I come down on the front row? Is that okay? Thank you. Whew, now I can just be with the people. I was the youngest of 3, and I had older brothers. They were 10 and a half months, between each other, and then I was 5 years younger, so I was the baby. And of course, being the baby of 2 brothers, I had to play hard. I had to play like a boy. So I grew up very tomboyish. I had to learn to dress like this, and actually my daughter put my makeup on this morning, so that's how tomboyish I really am inside. So when I started having issues with bruising, and like I said, being a tomboy, I played every sport that there was, and I never bruised, never bruised. Then it got to the point to where I was very fatigued, and being a single mom, you don't ever get tired. You just go. And working for Dr. Chitwood, you don't get tired. You work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. He'll call you at 2 o'clock in the morning and say, Kammy, you got your pad? I got something I need to tell you. So you just write it down. So I started getting really, really tired. So it just so happened it was about the time to have my physical exam. And so I go to my doctor, and you have your little sheet of everything you need to talk to him about for the whole year. And so when I started talking to him, and I said, I'm starting to bruise, and I don't remember hitting my legs. I don't remember hitting my arms. I don't understand what's going on. I'm tired all the time when I get home. I just want to go to bed, and I still have to cook and clean babies and play with them and do homework. And I just felt so exhausted. Didn't want to wake up in the morning, and I just knew something was wrong. So he told me that, you're probably just, you're fatigued from being a single mom. You're always going. You just need to maybe take some time. Maybe you're going through depression. And I said, sir, I'm not depressed. I'm happy. I'm a happy person. I love my life. I love my job. I love my kids. I'm happy. And so went back home, and it just so happened a couple of days later, putting on lotion, how women are, put our lotion on, and I noticed on the left-hand side, I had a small, tiny pea-sized bump. So I thought, well, that's never been there before, so I just kind of, put it in the back of my mind, and then I noticed it kept getting a little bit bigger, so I finally went back to the doctor, and I said, okay, I have a lump in my breast. And he said, well, you have no history of breast cancer. You have no history of cancer, period, on either side of your family. So I think you're going to be okay. And I said, well, something inside me tells me something's not right. You know your body better than anybody does. So you have to be your own advocate. So when I started talking to him, and I just said, sir, I really think I should have a mammogram. And he said, well, okay, we'll schedule your mammogram, but I'm pretty sure, it's nothing. So I went and had the mammogram, and then had an ultrasound. And even the ultrasound doctor said, it looked very smooth, didn't seem like it was a big deal, but I kept having the issues. So this was October when I first had my physical. November's when I had the mammogram. By December, it had actually tripled the size. So working for Dr. Chitwood, being in a tax firm, I put all that behind me, and I was thinking, you know what? I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait, and let's see, get through tax season, and then I'll deal with it. I don't have time to deal with it right now. Because how many superwomen do we have out here? We're all superwomen. We're going to do it. And so when I started feeling that way, I went through tax season, went through January at least, which was my part in church gift. And I can concur with Dr. Chitwood. This house is a house in order. I worked with Haroline for years doing the actual tithing envelopes that you just collected. I actually received and I recorded Eastwedge Church, which used to be Gospel Harvester Church, and Full Turn Ministries. And I know for sure that every donation that's collected here, I've seen the financials, every donation goes to where they say it's going to go. And that's very important because there's a lot of ministries that don't do that. So anyways, back to my story. I actually waited, and on Valentine's Day, I had originally called and I demanded a biopsy. And I said, something's not right. I have a friend that's telling me to go and get a biopsy. So I did. On Valentine's Day, 2005, I went, and this was the best breast surgeon in Chattanooga. He's done all kinds of breast surgery for breast cancer. And so when I went to him, he did the needle biopsy. He had an ultrasound on it at the same time. And he said, you know what, Miss Chitwood? He said, it's very smooth. It's not edgy, does not look suspicious. He said, so if you don't hear from me, then no news is good news, so don't worry about it. And your test results, come back in a few days. Well, the very next day happened to be Dr. Chitwood's birthday, born February 2015. And in church gift, we actually all worked. There was like 8 of us in one room. Here I am, strong, superwoman, never tell anybody my problems. Nobody had a clue what was going on, not even Dr. Chitwood. So I got the phone call sitting in front of 8 people that I've worked with forever. And it's the surgeon, and he says, Miss Chitwood, I regret to make this phone call, but your results came back positive. You do have breast cancer. And from what we can tell, it's a very aggressive breast cancer. So in the back of my mind, he's sitting here talking for a good 20 minutes, and I'm listening, but I'm not listening. I'm thinking about my babies. And so I get off the phone, tears streaming, and I don't cry in front of anybody. And so I clock out, go to my car, and all I can think of is Psalms 91:15. And he says, if you shall call upon my name, I will answer. And I said, God, you know my heart. And you know I have 3 babies that I'm not about to let anybody else raise. I'm going to be there to go to every game. I'm going to be there to go to my daughter's wedding. I'm going to be there to go to my son's wedding. I'm going to see my grandchildren, and I'm going to see my great-grandchildren, and I'm going to do great things in your name. And so, your faith, you're pumped up, and you talk to God like that, and you just get real. And so I go back, and then the doctor had told me, he said, I need you in my office tomorrow. We've got counselors that are going to meet with you, and bring your support group, whoever is your strong support group, and we'll go over all the things. We're going to get the oncologist on board, the radiologist, and we're going to do everything that we can. I was 30 years old. And so, me being the tough little country Saudi Daisy girl, I told my mom, I told my dad, still hadn't told Dr. Chitwood because I was afraid he wouldn't let me come back to work. And that's what I was thinking. I needed to work, being a single mom. And so they actually found out on Wednesday, Thursday, met with the counselor. Friday they started chemotherapy. And my doctor told me, he said I had long, dark hair. He said, Kammy, you're going to lose all of your hair. And I said, I don't care. Cut my breasts off, whatever you have to do, just do it. And so we started the aggressive chemo, and I had about 9 months of going through chemo, radiation, surgeries. And I'm just here to tell you right now, I don't care what anybody tells you. You know your body, and if you feel something's wrong, the Holy Spirit puts it in you and lets you know something is wrong. So even when the doctors say, you know, it's nothing, there's no history of cancer in your family, you let them know. You demand a biopsy, you demand a mammogram, and you take care of everything that you know to do, and you do within your power. So I'm just here to say thank you, and I appreciate you letting me share my story. And I thank God every single day. When Bishop was talking about time is so precious when you go through something like this, and you cannot take life for granted. And I thank God every single day that I wake up and I get to be a sister, I get to be a daughter, I get to be a friend, and most importantly, I still get to be a mom. And I just thank you very much for allowing me to share my story.
You may be seated for just a moment. I do appreciate her. Have you noticed the ribbons outside and the ribbons up front? These are artists in our church that came together that did some phenomenal work. But there's something special we want to do. And I do thank all the workers that worked yesterday and all those that gave their time, effort, and energy. You're all such a blessing. But these artists did such a phenomenal work. But my wife, Denise, wanted to do something special for... Okay, do you want to say something? Let you...
So when we were doing this, one of the things I thought of is, and I had my husband contact Dr. Chitwood, and we asked him what your favorite flower was, what your favorite bird was, and I commissioned one of our great artists, Kelly, who's sitting over there, to do a ribbon for you. And I'll let y'all see it first. This ribbon, the orchid represents you, and those 3 hummingbirds are the children that you stood and you said, I will not leave you. And he did this. So this is on behalf of us and the East West Church. We thank you. Thank you for giving us your story. Thank you for sharing it.